communication. Okay, so a large part of what we're going to be doing as human beings is communicating with other human beings. As it turns out, the vast majority of us don't really consider things outside of humanity all that important or all that practical. So I wanted to give you guys some practical wisdom on how communication works in the job life. So basically, communication is how we materialize ideas. It determines how problems get resolved and how relationships stay tight. If you want to be more valuable everywhere, you must become a clearer communicator. Warren Buffett says that if you can increase your level of communication, that you will increase the amount that you can make by 50%. Now, that's just an arbitrary statistic, but the reality is communication is literally the difference between someone that is super skilled and able to do something versus someone that's super skilled and just can't quite work with other people or can't quite communicate what they need in order to do something, right? You don't want to be the person that has that communication issue. But the big part of communication that a lot of people miss is the hidden truth of communication. That most of our communication is actually in our facial expression and our body language, right? The way that we show up. Jordan Peterson talks about this concept of lobsters. So lobsters are one of the oldest species on the planet, and they have essentially a pecking order. Posture is a big part of confidence, and it's actually seen in a lot of different species, but in lobsters in particular, when lobsters win a fight, their posture improves, right? Now, that's like one little thing, and what I want you guys to do out of this is also pay attention to other people, right? Obviously, yourselves in the mirror and stuff, but I want you to pay attention to your classmates. I want you to pay attention to your professors, your siblings, your parents. I want you to see what their posture, their body language says to you about them. There's also speed. There's also reactions, right? When you are turning your body towards someone, you're directly paying more attention to them. You can observe this in groups of people. When your phone is on the table, when you're having communication with someone, that indicates to that other person that they're not as important. There's these little cues that I want you guys to start paying attention to, especially if you're going to dentistry. That attention to detail will serve you quite well. Okay, so people feel you before they understand you. People feel your presence. They feel your smile. You can tell if someone's smile is genuine if you look at their eyes. And there's also a really valuable thing to pay attention to if you're going to be someone that hires people, or if you're going to be someone that actually gets teams of people together. The reason is because you want to be able to tell things about people based on how their outside body language is conveyed. And I'm going to break down why that outside matters so much. It's a combination of things that go through our own head. So this is nonverbal is basically 90%. Signals of care, it's basically what you care about, right? Your body language is going to indicate what you care about. Verbal starts becoming actually a very little part of how you communicate with people. And then presence and feeling, people feel your presence before you understand your sentences. The thing that I wanted to say about the body language is there was a book that I read a while back on the magic of thinking big. And he said something really interesting. He said that powerful people walk fast and they usually walk with a smile on their face. So just imagine that type of person in your head that has good posture, that walks fast and has a smile on their face. That person, if anyone's doing that, you'd probably think a little bit differently about that person than someone else. How you talk to you, however, is the most important thing. So your body language, sure, is going to show up first, okay? But your body language is directly indicative of how you talk to yourself. So your self-talk becomes your outer presence. If you beat yourself up in your head, you show up in your face and body as someone that's beat up, right? If your own head is a hostile place to be, which is why it's so awesome to journal, you're gonna have a really hard time communicating that to the rest of the world, right? You're gonna have insecurities that the rest of the world can feel. Start by noticing your internal words before trying to sound better externally. The things that you say when you look yourself in the mirror, and particularly young women, are really, really hard on themselves, right? I've hired a lot of young women, and I've had a lot of philosophical conversations, a lot of one-on-one like coaching conversations. And the way that society has geared advertisement and stuff, it's very harsh. And you got to be very careful on how you treat yourself, because that's going to end up being how you treat other people. Okay, so your brain is directly indicative of how you end up appearing in the outside world. So what is one word you say to yourself that weakens your confidence? I want you to write this down. One word that you say to yourself that weakens your confidence, weakens your soul. Guys, the reason that this is so important, don't ever forget these words. Words are magic. Words are magic. They are spells, this weird fantasy sense. Words are really, really powerful. Learn new, beautiful, inspiring words and try to use them all the time. And notice words that you use and that don't make you feel very good. Even on the outside world, right? I know Gen Z says bruh a lot, right? Like bruh, right? That word is a short form of brother. Brother versus bruh, right? How does that make you feel, right? Brother is this kind of formal thing, right? It's a sign of respect. It's a mutual, it's a building a bond. It's a relationship. Whereas bruh is this thing that's like, has a negative connotation, can be condescending, it can be moody unnecessarily, right? But the more you start saying these things, you might be thinking to yourself, like, dude, come on, it's just a word. I'm telling you, some of the most powerful people in the world are saying these exact same things. Okay, go and look at Tony Robbins. Go and look at Alex Hormozi. Go and look at anyone that's talking at a international stage. They are using words. And the cool thing is about learning different languages is every language has these words, right? So languages are abstractions, right? They're abstractions of the real world. If I see a table, right, the word table is not necessarily the same in everyone else's head. What we're trying to do as human beings is basically take a chaotic environment and abstract it into something that we can understand, something that we can standardize. But there's different ways of standardizing it. That's what words are. Vocabulary shapes character. Repeated phrases build the feelings you carry in every interaction. Clean language is not about perfection. It's about protecting your mind. There are two extremes to master. In your own head and in your own language. There is the analytical part of you, and then there is the peace-seeking part of you. A really powerful book to look into if you're exploring your spiritual side / your peace side is The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. Eckhart, I think is his first name and last name is Tolle. He talks about our minds and our thoughts actually being the thing that keeps us away from peace. If you look at the Tao Te Ching, which is the Buddhist spiritual text, they actually say something very similar. If you look at the people that meditate in general, they say these things. The reason peace is so powerful is it is not emptiness. The more you experience peace, the more you increase your depth as a human. And things are going to start looking more interesting. Remember, your thoughts are not the full truth of the universe. And this is something that hopefully you remind yourself all of the time about. Just because you got a lot of things right does not mean you have everything right. And just because it's worked out most of the time does not mean that it's going to work out all of the time, right? Try to exchange ideas from other people. Try to understand where other people are coming from, not to the degree that you forget yourself, but at least to the degree where you check yourself, okay? The analytical part of you is also very, very important. Dental school, anything that you do in your career life will teach you the analysis part. The piece is going to be harder to come by. The analysis will help you execute. That is the most important thing. So we're going to go actually more into analysis here. Stagnation point in a lot of workplace scenarios is vagueness. Okay, vagueness. It's why I ask you these very specific questions. What is one word? What are you going to do in the next week? In this month, this is what we're going to accomplish, right? When you have that set expectation, you are avoiding unexpected unclarities and you're avoiding uncommunicated boundaries, right? So for instance, if someone's not treating you the way that you want to be treated and you don't give them a social sanction, let me take a step back. What is a social sanction? In sociology, a social sanction is something that we do to give other human beings a signal that what they're doing is not the best thing to do, either socially or to us. A social sanction can be as simple as raising an eyebrow, looking away, making a facial expression, or it can be as extreme as yelling at someone, or it can be as peaceful as not saying anything for just a second, breaking the pace of something. Okay, that's called a social sanction. Very, very useful in trying to condition people around you to treat you in the way that you wish to be treated. Unclear expectations and uncommunicated boundaries come from being vague, okay? Not having that specific thing that you want accomplished. So vagueness equals chaos. You want a little bit more structure every day if you can. The final reviews never happen if no one learns what right looks like. If final reviews never happen, no one knows what right looks like. That's where feedback comes in. The clarity frame, why, what, when. Okay, and this one, I'm communicating directly to those of you that want to be leaders, and those of you that are here probably want to be leaders. Why would you be here if you don't want to be a leader? That's the real question, right? Why would you give yourself the education, the opportunity to watch this and be here if you don't want to somehow impact the world around you? That's a good question to ask yourself. But if you are here to be a catalyst, someone that changes things, why, what, when is very, very important. Humans are emotional creatures, guys. If we don't give people an emotional reason to buy into something, they're not going to want to do it. I don't care what it is. It could be the most logical thing in the world. It could be like, duh, dude, if you don't do this, you're gonna literally die. If they don't care about living, what's the point? You see what I'm saying? So why, what, when? Give context, make a clear request, and name a deadline every time. Every time, name a deadline. Get specific. What is your target? Okay. Now, delegation, the 10-80-10 rule. I took this directly from Dan Martell, who is a phenomenal software developer and billionaire and philanthropist and just overall awesome guy. I would totally follow him on social media if you can. Dan Martell. 10. Okay. 10% is the what. Okay. So what you want someone to do if you're delegating a task out. 80% of that work afterwards is done by the person that you delegate to. And I'm gonna switch it to being the person delegated to in a second. And then 10% is that last 10% that's the most important. Steve Jobs was like, dude, everyone's good at the 90%. You know, a lot of people are really good at the 90%. The 10%, that's the hardest part. Taking it to completion, finishing it off, polishing it, making sure that it has the touch, making sure that it has that specific oomph that makes a difference. A 10-80-10 rule, super useful in delegation. I can't tell you, like, all the way throughout school, any student organization I was a part of, I was terrible at delegating. And it's the single most useful skill that you need to master as a leader, because you can't do everything alone. Everyone has the same 24 hours. And at the end of the day, you need to get your shit done, right? The 10% at the end for a leader is really useful too, because when you look back at what you said and you look at the product that you were given, you realize, hopefully, that if you weren't given the thing that you were looking for, that the 10% you did in the beginning wasn't the right thing. You didn't define the what clearly enough. And always take the blame on this, guys. Okay, if that 80% was done and you're like, damn, that was not what I was looking for, that means that you didn't give them the specificity. You didn't give them the clarity required for them to follow through. And that means you got to work on that initial 10% and your clarity. This is a phenomenal rule for delegation. If you don't get anything out of these slides, 10-80-10, use it. From the other side, the 80% is you using your own intuition to solve a problem, okay? As you move higher up the ranks of leadership and delegation, people are going to tell you things to do, and they're not going to make them very clear all the time. It's your job to figure out what you can do in your own intellect to solve those problems. How do you want me to do this? Well, now I have ChatGPT available to me. I have infinite wisdom, or infinite intelligence at least, available to me. I know that I can ask something how to do it, right? But if I don't have the why clear, why would I even want to do it? Food for thought. But the 10s also create check-in points. Okay, so 10s is like, okay, we have a meeting. I'm going to delegate this out to my officers, or this gets delegated out to me. 80% is, okay, a week goes by, this thing needs to be done. Next meeting, 10%, we look it over, right? It creates this cadence. Confirm next steps, owner, and timelines, so nothing lives in assumptions. Guys, don't make assumptions about people. Don't make assumptions about systems. Don't make assumptions about deans, about leaders, about political figures, and don't make any assumptions. It's not worth it. Get the facts, okay? High emotions equal low intellect. I want you to be high intellect. Okay, we'll work on the emotions as we go. And it's funny because this actually got this diagram completely wrong, which is why AI can't delegate to people. Okay, so take a vague task that you have this week and rewrite it as a why, what, and when in one sentence. A vague task. Okay, why are you doing it? What is the task, and when are you going to accomplish it? Why a vague task? And by the way, this is also setting goals for yourself. SMART goals. I want you guys to look up SMART goals. SMART goals. Go on your computer right now, look up SMART goals. Understand that that is literally the only way to set goals in life. They have to be SMART goals. SMART. Okay? That's your homework. You got to look that up. Clarity is kindness. Clarity is not being nice. So you look at the derivation of the word nice, it's actually ignorant. Everyone told you, oh, you got to be nice. You got to be a nice person. Try to be nice. That person's really nice. Oh, they got a nice kid. The derivation of the word, just look it up. The derivation of the word nice means ignorant. Clarity is kindness. Clarity is saying to someone, I don't want to be treated like this. Okay, if you continue to treat me like this, we can't be friends. Clarity is saying, I'm going to be here doing this thing at this time because of this. In the workplace, clarity is if you are being delegated to. Okay, what is one thing I should keep doing, stop doing, and start doing? When you're checking with your boss, when you're checking with someone that you're delegating to, you want feedback. You want to make it open and clear. Like, listen, there's a place to give me stuff. How am I doing? Am I communicating clearly? How could I be better? What's something that you just hate that I just do all the time that I don't even know about? I need you as a mirror. Show me that. It is better to be professionally annoying than to fail silently. I can't tell you the amount of times I tell people that I delegate to, like literally like leaders and like that are leading companies and stuff. Hey guys, why didn't I hear about this? I found out about it last week. I figured I'd just, no. Like I need to know about it right then and there. Why don't you just shoot me a text, right? It's better to be professionally annoying than to fail silently. Massive life lesson, okay? You gotta over communicate. If you got questions for me over the course of this program, right? Communicate, text me, call me, whatever. Figure it out, If you're like, oh, I had a question about that technology or something. I wasn't entirely sure what you said in the morning meeting. Show people that you care. And the beautiful part about this is if you do this in a working environment, you get promoted faster too. Sure, they might think you're a little bit more annoying, but at least they know you're paying attention. I have new people that come into my office always write down questions. For the first week, every single day, they're expected to write questions. I guess that was the end of the presentation. I'm gonna go right on to the next one, okay? The next one is growth inside the job. Growth inside the job. I won't name anyone, but someone just said to me that I don't want to work in a corporate setting where I'm at a desk. Okay, I get it. Here's the thing. And this is my heartfelt advice to anyone watching this, is experience the normal. Experience the rat race. You're going to have to do it at some point. You're going to have to do it and form your own opinion on it. Because a lot of the ways that things are run in larger companies and larger groups of human beings are run because of human nature. Okay, so growth inside the job is not just, this thing that you're doing alone. It's actually an understanding of your own nature. Growth without losing yourself. The goal is simple. Earn trust, get promoted, and keep your values intact once you are there. You do not level up by becoming someone else, guys. You level up by becoming more of you, the best parts of you. Why do you think I talked about in the very beginning, the core of that onion, your mission in life, right? Keep your values intact. So important, because that's what's going to make your career actually interesting, okay? Earn trust, get promoted, keep your values intact. But how do you earn trust? The career trap. Most people chase recognition before they become dependable. They want influence before they've earned trust. Consistency is rare, and that's why it's powerful, guys. Okay? Most people chase recognition before they become dependable. Okay, sure. You want me to give you XYZ thing, but you can't show up to work every single day. All right, fine. I got you to show up to work for a week. You can't show up to work for 3 months straight. What's your issue? This person can. I trust them more than you. They want influence before they've earned trust. Imagine you built this beautiful thing. Imagine you built a band, right? And you guys are touring and doing all this awesome stuff. And then this drummer comes through and it's like, yo, I want to do a drum solo on the first day. How could I? My audience don't want to hear a drum solo. They want to hear the band. You see? Don't jump into this stuff. And honestly, it's applied to youth oftentimes. And this is stuff that I used to mess up too. Consistency is rare, and that's why it's powerful. Nail consistency first, guys. Show up every time. Every time. You'll not have any competition when you show up every time. That I guarantee you. The trust ladder. Show up, execute, solve, own, and then lead. Trust is not a vibe, it's a record of outcomes. Every rung makes you easier to delegate to and harder to ignore. Okay, so if you show up, you're submitting the basics. If you execute, if you're asked to do something and you get it done, excellent. Then, okay, fine, you can get things done, but can you see a problem? Okay, can you solve that problem? Not only do you see the problem, but can you solve it? Do you have something in you that will actually make that possible? Okay, you've solved enough problems. Can you own every problem that happens in this department? Can you own the problem before it even becomes a problem? Can you see it coming? And then leading. I had a conversation with someone that works in the Pentagon, a close friend of mine. He said, and we were talking about leadership versus management. And he said, I said to him, leaders move things, managers kind of just maintain the status quo. And he said, yeah, I kind of agree with you there, but I think that's kind of shooting management in the foot. And I was like, why is that? He's like, well, managers are expected to keep the level at where it's at, right? So if it's at a good level, managing that level is not always easy. And I was like, yeah, sure. But leading something, to be a leader, right? That means that you can convince other people that, hey, dude, look at that thing. That thing might be interesting. That thing might be so interesting that it'll change everything forever. Oh, now the ears are peaked up. Okay, let's see what we can do. What Where are you on the trust ladder, guys? Right now, what is the next rung you can earn this week? Are you showing up? All right. When your friends say, yo, there's this thing to do you show up? When you say you're going to show up, do you show up? Okay. Execute. Are you doing all the homework? Are you doing all the chores too? Are you taking care of the siblings? Right? Are you showing up here? Okay. Then are you executing on the tasks that are given to you? Are you following up? What is the power of now in Eckhart Tolle? What is buy back your time? Who's Dan Martell? Who's this guy, Tony Robbins? Are you paying attention? I'm gonna give you some problems later on. Can you solve them? And then if you stick around for long enough, can I give you something to own? Where are you on the trust ladder? Dependable. Show up on time and do the basics well every time, guys. Dependability builds respect before you even speak about potential. When you're consistent, you become unbeatable. Dependable. Super important. Dude, probably one of my pet peeves in society is how few people are actually dependable. Just think about it. I mean, you guys have examples. I know I do. But good Lord, right? You think, okay, 1 week, 3 months? Shit, half the people dropped out. 6 months? You got 10%. A year? You got one person. Dependable. This is what humanity is lacking right now. This is the single thing that'll set you aside, apart from everyone else. If you can be dependable, if you can show up every single time. And you see it too in your peer group. You see it right here. Useful. Your first priority is technical proficiency, not popularity. Okay, those of you that want to go into the medicine, dentistry, technical proficiency. Can you cut that thing? Can you make it? Can you do that crown? Can you do that root canal? If you say that if you're doing a project, a presentation, can you make the presentation? Is it finished? Technical proficiency is the highest thing after dependability, because you're going to need dependability to get technical proficiency. You need to get technical proficiency when you're young, okay, whatever it is. If you're a singer, you got to be able to hit the notes. You got to carry the notes. You need that. If you're going out and learning a language, right? Can you actually communicate? Can you have a conversation with someone? Can you be a translator? Right? Do you have the technical proficiency to do that? Your usefulness is consistency turned into skills that produce results. So remember, dependability turned into skills that produce results. Precision is how you stay yourself while leveling up. Okay. So you're going to want to learn something that's technically proficient because that's how you earn money. You're going to want to learn something that earns money that you can do every single time. Very important. But precision is how you do it your way. But you got to be able to hit it first. And then you can start manipulating it. The beautiful rule to remember here is the 10,000 hour rule. I don't know if you guys have heard this. Mastery, they say, comes after 10,000 hours of doing something. Okay. The funny part is if you go and talk to the masters, if you go and listen to some of their TED Talks or whatever, right? They say 10,000 hours is where it starts. Because 10,000 hours, fine, you mastered it. Now you manipulate it. Now you manipulate the entire genre, the entire field. Most people are thinking in tens of hours, right? They're thinking, oh, it's going to take 20 hours. It's going to take 25 hours. I got to spend a whole day driving, right? Some people are thinking about 100 hours. They're like, okay, this is going to take a couple days. All right, this is going to take a month work of hard work. The exceptional people are thinking about years. How many years is it going to take me to get there? Because they know. Okay, what we expect to accomplish in 1 year is often a lot less than we can accomplish. But when it comes to 5 years, we can blow shit out of the water. It just takes consistency. Trust arrives when people can give you something and they know it will get done. Own outcomes, especially small ones, because it's how leaders are spotted. Earning little outcomes, the little details that people are not paying attention to. That's the stuff I look for. I'm like, oh my goodness. You saw that. You saw that you did something about it. The moment you are trusted, your growth accelerates. Why? Because, dude, the higher up you go, the harder it is for those people to trust other people. Okay? The higher up you go, the harder it is to trust people. Because so many people have let you down. So many people. If you aspire to do great things, if you aspire to be like an exceptional human being, like nothing that's ever been seen in your family or in your community or something, like, you're going to have to go through a lot of disappointment. A lot. And it's cool because you'll learn things along the way about yourself, about other people. But the reality is, earning trust from those types of people, those exceptional people, takes time. It takes a lot of little details. And you want to earn their trust because once you do, you snap into an acceleration that no one else sees. You snap into getting wisdom and getting connections and getting these things that people are like, how'd you do that? It's like, yeah, I worked my ass off for an entire year. Oh, okay. I get it. Okay, boundaries and reputation. This was kind of a shit image, but I thought it looked cool, so I just put it up here. Your reputation is your resume, and your boundaries protected. Okay, so your resume was established by showing up every single day, getting a technical skill, owning outcomes, and there you go. Okay, and you did that again and again and again and again and again. Okay, now you got a resume. Even in your own head, you got to have this data available to you. But then that communication that we talked about before, that establishes the boundaries, right? Your resume is like, dude, I can build a company and it can gross $3 million a year and I can do all this stuff. Okay, great. Well, this schmuck kid comes up and he's like, yo, I'm looking to make lots of money and then can't show up to work. Okay, you're gonna let them all into your circle? You're gonna let them all have access to you? Is that fair to you? Right? You gotta love yourself, right? That was one of the main rules. Respect is the baseline for sustainability, not a luxury. There's a really powerful quote. Trust moves at the speed of progress moves at the speed of trust. Trust moves at the speed of time. Progress moves at the speed of trust. Trust moves at the speed of time. So it takes repetitions to build trust. And then when you have trust, then you have people that you can take with you, right? Your family, for instance, you trust them. You're like, dude, you can show up. You know, you've always been there. When you're trying to get stuff done, you're like, all right, cool. Let's do it. Let's get it done. And you know it'll get done. Hopefully. Family's not always like that. Know the environment you are in. Some places grow you and some places drain you. You can change places with people too, guys. You can change places with words. Some words grow you and some words drain you. Some people grow you and some people drain you. Okay. And I asked a really fundamental question to my English teacher, my creative writing teacher in high school. I said to him, Mr. Davey, really cool guy. He taught me about poetry. I said, how do you know if people care? At the time, I was like trying to figure out friends and stuff like this. I was like, how do you know if people care? And he said, I don't know. This amazing professor that writes about poetry, he said, I don't know. That's a hard question to Rob. Years later, like 10 years later, I went and asked this older guy. He's like the oldest, he's the oldest brother of 7 sisters, got them all married, owns a business, like, you know, just built some stuff. Mother lives with him, happy as hell, right? I was like, how do you know if people care? This guy, he said something to me. He said, watch how they treat other people. I was like, oh shit, what do you mean? He's like, well, if they treat other people like shit, why are you the exception? You're not the exception, okay? Know the people that are in your environment. If they're treating other people like that, they're not going to treat you different. Sorry, I don't care if it's your parents. I don't care if it's your siblings, right? You got to know that, okay? If your best friend, you got to know that. Why? The repetitions. It's the resume. What boundaries would protect your energy and reputation at work without damaging trust? This is just a hard question, but this is something I want you to think about. What boundaries do you need to put up to protect your energy and reputation? Discipline, emotions, and home. High performance requires unwind rituals, guys. Okay, you need to be able to go home slightly more chill. High emotions equal low intelligence. Okay, that's the analytic part of you. The low intelligence, you can't afford that. You got to execute. And I think that costs you in your career and relationships, right? So if you go home and you're really, really emotional, okay, you're going to have a hard time being able to process information like, yo, we got to pay rent. We have this person coming. We're upgrading the backyard. You know, you can't be all emotional about that stuff. My kid's failing school. You can't be emotional about that stuff, right? Okay, what do we need to do? What are the things that need to move forward? Okay. High emotions, low intelligence. When you're high, I had a conversation with someone actually day before yesterday. Guys, our enemies in life are not human beings. They're the things that get us emotional, right? If someone says you suck at singing, you love singing. Shit, does that get you emotional? If someone says you ain't even that good looking, you care about being good looking, does that get you emotional? Someone says, dude, you can't even show up. You care about being someone that's known as showing up. Does that get you emotional? Right? Those are your real enemies. You got to solve those things in your own soul, your own heart first. Because as soon as, and this is really important to remember about relationships, okay? As you guys move up in the world, you're going to need to know this stuff. Okay, the person that's the most emotional in a conversation often doesn't win it. Okay? It's a good place to start, right? Because we're emotional creatures. It's a good place to start. It's not a good place to stay. Build discipline so you can stay kind and tender while still executing fast and rationally. So get that technical skill, get that discipline first, okay? Your 20s, your teens and 20s are all about discipline and technique. All about discipline and technique. If you're emotionally intelligent and care about that stuff, you'll still figure out the kindness and tenderness. You'll have to. That's what happiness is. But you got to be able to execute.